Welcome to the True Tomorrows podcast. Are you ready for another weekly sci-fi probe? We're diving into the awesome world of galactic flash fiction. Think those awesome sci-fi blockbuster films, but like condensed into bite-sized stories. Like those epic short stories across the cosmos.
Yeah, this week's mission briefing is it's pretty fantastic actually. We're taking his SCI-5 probe into two totally different cosmic adventures. And these are pulled right from, those really cool quick burst narratives, flash fiction.
Yeah. First up, we've got this flash fiction story called The Three Musketeers, and it throws you right into the action with the Galactic Federation and their elite team called the Guardians.
And then after that, we're going to recalibrate our scanners and set a course with this navigator named Edmond Dantes. And the flash fiction story is called Monte Cristo in Space. Get ready, because we're going on a journey of, betrayal transformation across the, vast reaches of space.
So much to explore. Get ready for some surprising twists and memorable characters. Oh, and enough galactic intrigue to keep you totally hooked. And if you love this SCI 5 PROB, remember to rate and follow the show for more captivating True Tomorrows. Okay, enough of that. Let's jump right into the first story. The Three Musketeers. It all starts aboard the Sovereign, which is the Galactic Federation flagship as it's going through uncharted space. What do you think? What's the immediate impression we get from this?
Well, the opening, right away, it establishes this sense of grandeur and exploration. Putting the flagship in uncharted space like that suggests that the Federation is pushing the boundaries of known space. Right. There's a sense of discovery and maybe even unforeseen dangers.
Right. And then we're introduced to these legendary guardians right away. First up, Athos. And he's described as this really cautious strategist with this piercing gaze. You get this feeling right away that he's the kind of guy who sees beneath the surface.
Yeah, totally. That piercing gaze and his cautious nature, it just screams experience, right? He's this leader who has faced difficult situations before, and he's learned from them, makes you wonder what kind of threats they normally face. Then we have Porthos, this towering figure known for his booming laughter. That just sounds like the kind of presence that could lift the spirits of the entire crew.
Right. Maybe the emotional anchor, balancing out Athos, who is kind of serious. And then we have Aramis, the wise diplomat, incredibly skilled with the blade. That's a pretty interesting combo.
For sure. That combination, it suggests that he can navigate complicated political situations, but he's also, more than capable in a fight. It says a lot about the Federation, right?
Yeah.
That they value both diplomacy and strength in their forces. And the fact that Admiral Jean d'Orléans is the one who summons them for this urgent matter, it just tells you right away that whatever they're about to face, it's serious.
Totally agree with you there. And then the Admiral lays out the mission. This mysterious, verdant planet emitting these unknown energy pulses. And the Federation sees this as a huge opportunity. New knowledge, maybe even new alliances. Sounds like a pretty good deal, right?
Yeah, it does sound promising. But then the story throws in this layer of complexity with Athos and his apprehension. It's all tied to a past mission, one that ended in tragedy. And that introduces this unease right away. Reminds us that even the best of the best, even they're shaped by their past. And those experiences can really, color their present.
I see what you mean. It's it hints that even though they're these legendary guardians, they've also experienced loss and failure. It makes them feel more relatable. But just as they're about to dive into this mystery, things change because of the distress signal.
Absolutely. Suddenly, a Federation outpost is under attack. Yeah. Everything changes. It's no longer about potential discovery. Now it's about an immediate crisis. And the fact that they deploy so quickly aboard the Rapier shows their dedication. Their readiness to protect the Federation. It's a core value of this organization.
Talk about going from 0 to 100. And it's during this attack that we meet Cadet D'Artagnan. He's holding off attackers all by himself. What an entrance.
Totally. Classic hero introduction, right?
Right.
Demonstrating courage and skill when everything is against him. But what's really interesting is how they describe his fighting style as the ancient martial arts of Earth, blending something so old with this futuristic setting. What do you make of that? What does it say about how the Federation approaches combat or even its history?
That's fascinating, isn't it? It suggests that even in a super advanced future, those old ways of fighting those more personal styles, they still have value. Maybe it means that they recognize that technology isn't everything. Or maybe it's just a nod to all the different origins of the Federation members. And it definitely impresses Athos because he makes a pretty big decision right there to bring D'Artagnan onto the team.
Yeah, and that's a big deal because Athos is usually so cautious. It shows how much potential he sees in D'Artagnan. It's like a spark of something that reminds him of his past. And then he gets that sense of déjà vu, that strong sense of familiarity with the mission and the whole team dynamic.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder about the parallels.
It does add this layer of mystery, right?
Mhm.
Is D'Artagnan going to be the key to understanding Athos's past? Is this mission echoing that earlier tragedy? It definitely keeps you guessing. So they finally head to the mysterious planet with their new younger member. And the flash fiction story describes these incredible landscapes, these lush landscapes and structures that hint at a lost civilization. What kind of atmosphere does that create?
Oh, it's a sense of wonder and mystery,
Yeah.
sure. But there's also maybe a bit of sadness knowing that a civilization was lost there. The vibrant life next to the remnants of the past, it suggests a cycle of, creation and destruction.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what happened to this planet, what caused its decline. And then there are the energy pulses emanating from the central temple with its unique architecture. It just emphasizes that an advanced culture was here, but it's vanished.
And through all of this, Athos is really carrying the weight of responsibility, right? That sense of having been here before, even if he hasn't actually. It's clear that this place, or at least the situation, is bringing back some painful memories.
Yeah, and when they finally get to the temple and go inside, the imagery is so vivid. Dimly lit corridors with dancing carvings. It just adds to the ancient, mysterious feelings, like they're walking through the echoes of history. What do you think? What was the purpose of those carvings? Decoration or something more?
Now, that is a great question. Given what happens later, it makes you think they might be some kind of historical record, you know, or even a warning that nobody listened to. And then there's that hidden passage. It leads to a giant chamber with a pedestal radiating this otherworldly energy. That's when you realize they found something really important.
But Athos hesitates. It's like his past trauma is holding him back, influencing his decisions. It shows how past experiences can have a grip on us even when we're faced with new possibilities.
And then, of course, because this is sci-fi, touching the artifact triggers the classic blinding light and visions of distant galaxies. It's not just some local power source. It's connected to something much bigger, maybe even the cosmos itself.
Right. It suggests a network of connections, maybe technologies that go beyond our understanding of space and time. But their discovery is cut short.
Yeah, they come out of the temple and are confronted by these armed beings, a mix of human and alien. What a twist. This planet that's supposed to be uninhabited actually has a hidden population. And it's not just one species either.
And right away, they're accused of trespassing on sacred ground. You immediately see the conflict. Aramis tries to communicate peacefully like the diplomat he is, but it doesn't work. What does that say about the potential for understanding between these two groups?
It tells me there's a lot of distrust. Or maybe a fundamental difference in how they see things, their values. It highlights how hard it is to make peace when there's a history of fear, fear of outsiders. And then during the battle, Athos sees that symbol on one of the aliens' armor. The same symbol from his past mission. Talk about a chilling realization.
Yeah, it validates all his anxieties, confirms his worst fears. The stakes just got a whole lot higher, and they're forced to retreat back to the rapier, and they've lost people. This encounter is serious.
Back on the ship, Athos finally tells him about his past, a similar artifact, the same symbol, and an entire civilization destroyed because of him. It makes his cautious behavior make a lot more sense.
It adds so much depth to his character. It's not just about exploring this planet for him. It's about dealing with a past tragedy and trying to prevent it from happening again. The mission becomes personal. It's about redemption.
So now they have this heavy knowledge, and they make a big decision. No more rushing in. They're going to go back as diplomats and try to build trust. It's a whole new approach. What do you think? What does this change in strategy say about their growth as a team?
I think it shows that they're willing to learn from their mistakes. They're adapting based on what they know now. It shows the importance of understanding communication even when there's a potential threat. But as you can imagine, their return is met with a lot of suspicion. It takes all of Aramis's diplomacy and Porthos's strength and Athos's sincerity to even begin to build trust.
And just when it seems like they're making progress, they're hit with a surprise attack. Another faction within the civilization. And given Athos's history, their fear of outsiders makes sense.
Yeah, it really underscores that this isn't some simple society. There are divisions and competing interests, which makes diplomacy really tough. The Guardians are caught in the middle, betrayed, outnumbered. The rapier is damaged. They have to split up. The tension is so high.
And you see them struggling as individuals. Athos is dealing with his past failures coming back. Porthos is using his strength to avoid capture, and Aramis is using his intelligence to escape. The stakes are high for each of them.
And in the middle of all this chaos, Athos has a flash of insight. He remembers the visions from the artifact. Maybe there's something more to understand, something beyond this immediate conflict that might hold the key to a solution.
So after a daring rescue, the team gets back together. They realize that their straightforward approach was way too naive for this situation.
Right. And it's Athos who suggests a new plan. They need to truly understand the fears and hopes of these people. It's a different way of thinking than their usual, more militaristic approach.
Aramis agrees and suggests empathy and really digging into their history. It's about seeing things from their perspective instead of imposing their own.
So they offer a truce, a chance to talk with the leaders of this faction. And surprisingly, they accept. It shows that there might be some common ground, a willingness to find a peaceful solution despite what's happened before.
And in this tense meeting, we learn about the faction's deep fear of outsiders and their own history of betrayals. It helps us understand why they were so aggressive in the first place.
And it's in this moment that the Guardians explain their mission. They want to protect all civilizations. And Athos admits to their past mistakes. That kind of vulnerability can go a long way in building trust.
And then, in a surprising moment, Cadet D'Artagnan steps up. He uses his unique background, that mix of old Earth wisdom and new galactic understanding, to connect with them. He becomes this unexpected bridge between the two sides.
It's a brilliant way to bring D'Artagnan more into the team, and it shows that sometimes an outside perspective can bring solutions that these established people miss. But just when it seems like peace is possible.
Another attack, this time by the rival faction. And it turns out they've been manipulated by someone else, some hidden forces. It's the classic move to destabilize things.
Absolutely. It's a whole new level of threat. It means there's a bigger, more cunning player behind the scenes controlling everything. And now the Guardians and Lysandra's faction, the ones who were fighting before, they have to team up against this new enemy. Strange how things work out right.
And during this new, even more complicated battle, Athos has a huge realization about his past. He sees his actions in a new light, and this is his chance for redemption, his chance to change his story.
They eventually push back the attack, but there are consequences. The temple is damaged, the artifact is becoming more unstable, and the environment is going crazy. It shows just how powerful this thing is and how much destruction it could cause.
And Athos takes charge. He tells everyone that the artifact isn't just a source of power. It's a warning about what could happen if they make the wrong choices. It's a powerful statement.
They decide to work together, the Guardians and the planet's people, to try and fix things. It's a big step towards healing and sharing responsibility. But they know they can't do it alone.
And that leads to a bold move. They reach out across the galaxy to other civilizations, independent colonies, even those on the fringes of space. It's a desperate move, but it's necessary. This is a threat to everyone.
And that's how this unlikely alliance forms. Each group brings their own unique strengths to the table. It's a testament to the idea that a shared threat can overcome old divisions. And D'Artagnan embodies this new coalition, this symbol of unity between the old and the new.
Which brings us to the final battle. They've gathered their allies and are ready to face the enemy. And then, out of nowhere, a rogue sovereign appears from a parallel universe. Talk about raising the stakes.
Yeah, it's a huge escalation. A new enemy, even more dangerous than the last one. Just when they thought they had it figured out, another threat comes in from another reality.
We hear these final words of resolve from Athos, Porthos, Aramis, and D'Artagnan. A real sense of unity and determination, even though they're facing impossible odds.
The classic moment, right, where the heroes stand together, their strengths and bonds are solidified, and they're ready for the ultimate test. And the battle that follows is a showcase of their skills, honed over years of experience.
And then D'Artagnan bravely faces the rogue sovereign in direct combat. He's clearly the underdog, but he gives it his all. You can see how powerful this interdimensional threat is.
And as if things weren't tense enough, the unstable artifact starts pulsing even more erratically. It's like a ticking time bomb in the middle of this galactic showdown.
Which forces Athos to make a heart-wrenching decision. He has to sacrifice himself to stop the artifact, even though it means the ultimate price. It's the most selfless act of leadership you can imagine.
He tells Porthos and Aramis to hold off the enemy while he goes after the rogue sovereign in the temple. He knows what the sovereign wants. To control the artifact's power, it's their last chance.
And in their final struggle, Athos activates the neutralization device. There's this massive wave of energy that engulfs the whole temple. Outside, the sky suddenly clears, a sign of hope amidst the destruction.
And then the heartbreaking discovery of Athos' sacrifice. It's a really powerful moment. They've lost their leader, the one who was always wise and cautious. He gave everything to save not just their world, but countless others.
Even though he lost to the sovereign, D'Artagnan recognizes Athos' bravery. It's like passing the torch. They capture the rogue sovereign, but the victory is bittersweet.
After everything, the Allied forces go their separate ways. The threat is gone, thanks to the Guardians. Their names will never be forgotten.
Porthos and Aramis vow to continue Athos's legacy, to keep fighting for what's right. But then there's that twist with D'Artagnan.
Oh, yeah. D'Artagnan finds the artifact. It's inactive now, but there's this burst of energy, and he disappears into a temporal rift. Nobody saw that coming. Where did he go? What happened to him?
They search for him, but he's gone, lost in time and space. The story ends with rumors of D'Artagnan appearing in different times and places. He's become a legend.
And then we see Porthos and Aramis standing in front of a memorial. They make a silent promise to continue fighting for peace and justice across the galaxy. The legend of the Galactic Guardians lives on. It's a story about bravery, sacrifice in the face of overwhelming darkness. What an epic tale.
Absolutely incredible. Okay, time to shift gears. Let's launch our SCI-5 probe into our second flash fiction story, Monte Cristo in Space. This one introduces us to Edmond Dantes. What's our first impression of him?
We meet Edmond Dantes, and he's this well-respected navigator in his late 20s, and the story makes it clear he's known for his integrity and his amazing skills in the space fleet. He's a young man with a bright future.
And we find out that he started from humble beginnings on a colony planet. He earned his success through hard work. It makes you root for him right away. He's also deeply in love with Mercedes, and they're planning to get married. That tells us the stakes are high. He has a lot to lose.
That personal connection is so important. It makes the betrayal that much more impactful for the reader. But even though things seem good, there's this underlying feeling of unease, like something bad is about to happen. It foreshadows the major turn his life is going to take.
You can feel it in the air, right? And then bam, he's arrested as soon as he gets back to his ship. The charge. Treason against the Galactic Federation. Talk about a shock. What's the impact of an accusation like that?
It comes out of nowhere, and it's the worst possible accusation. It throws the whole story into chaos. Dantes is confused, and he can't believe it. And the fact that they won't even let him talk to his commanding officer shows how powerless he is in the system that he trusted.
And there's that image of him looking back at his ship, his heart sinking. It's a powerful image. He's not just losing his freedom, he's losing his whole future. His love, everything.
Then we're in the interrogation room, and the story reveals the people who betrayed him and their motivations. First, there's Fernand, driven by jealousy. He wants Mercedes for himself. How does that personal element make the betrayal worse?
It makes it so much more personal and painful. It's not about politics or work. It's about envy and unrequited love. It adds a human element to the conspiracy, even though it's a dark one. And then there's Danglars, the corrupt officer that Dantes almost exposed. That's all about self-preservation.
Exactly. Danglars is afraid of being caught and facing the consequences. And finally, there's Villefort, the high-ranking official whose involvement is more complicated. His motives seem less personal. Maybe he's trying to protect his power or hide something big. They all accuse Dantes, but he denies everything. It's a clear picture of injustice.
And just like that, Dantes' life is destroyed. He's sent to a remote asteroid penal colony, a place of isolation and despair. It emphasizes just how far he's fallen. It sounds like a place where hope goes to die.
The description is so bleak, you really get a sense of his hopelessness, but it's in this horrible place that he meets Abby, older prisoner who becomes his mentor. Voria is a brilliant scientist who was imprisoned for knowing too much. What do you think? What does this encounter mean for Dantes?
It's a turning point, for sure. In this place of despair, Voria is a source of light, both intellectually and spiritually. He knows that knowledge is power, even in prison. He gives Dantes companionship and a way to maybe reclaim his life.
Right. Voria teaches Dantes so much science, strategy, combat skills, and most importantly, he tells him about this hidden ancient alien technology on a planet that's never been explored. This technology is their ticket out. How do you think this knowledge affects Dantes' mindset?
It gives him a new fire, a reason to keep going. He's not a victim anymore. He has a goal, a way to escape, and maybe even get revenge. His spirit was crushed, but now he's determined.
And under Foria's guidance, Dantes changes. He trains his mind and body. He masters all the things Foria teaches him. They form a deep bond like father and son.
But like we saw in our first SCI-5 Piro PhD strikes, Foria gets sick and he's dying. It's so sad, especially after they've come so far with their plan. What's the significance of Foria's dying wish?
As he's dying, Foria makes Dantes promise that he'll use what he's learned for justice, not just revenge. This adds a whole layer of morality to Dantes' future actions. Will he honor his promise, or will he be consumed by vengeance?
It's a huge moment. Dantes has to think about what freedom really means to him. With Faria gone, he's alone again, but he has all this knowledge and this heavy promise.
He grieves for his mentor and friend, but then he focuses on escaping. The story talks about how resourceful he is, how determined he is to use his skills to build a makeshift spacecraft. What does this escape represent for Dantes?
I think it's a symbol of his rebirth. He's rejecting the imprisonment that was forced on him. That last look back at the asteroid prison, it's like he's closing a chapter and starting a new one. He has a purpose now and a desire for justice.
His journey to this uncharted planet is full of uncertainty and danger, but he's driven by the potential reward. And when he finally finds the alien technology, it's even more powerful than Faria described. And the wealth it brings him, it's incredible. This is the turning point.
This technology changes him completely. Edmond Dantes, the wrongly accused navigator, is now the mysterious and influential Count of Monte Cristo. How does this new identity help him achieve his goals?
The Count's new persona, it's carefully crafted. He acts differently. He dresses differently. It's this blend of elegance and high tech. He commands respect and a little bit of fear. It's the perfect cover to get his revenge without anyone knowing who he really is or what he's planning.
And so his plan begins. His first target, Fernand, who is now rich from illegal trading. The Count sets things in motion, exposes Fernand's dealings, and brings him down. What's interesting about the Count's reaction to this?
The story makes it clear that he doesn't feel satisfied. There's no sense of triumph. It's like he's just checking off a box. It hints at the idea that revenge, even when it seems justified, can be empty.
Next up is Danglars, who got where he is through corruption. The Count uses his wealth to play the market and ruin Danglars financially and destroy his reputation. Do you see any change in the Count's character after this?
Watching Danglars fall doesn't seem to bring him any joy. He's just going through the motions. Maybe he's getting tired of the whole revenge thing.
And finally, he goes after Villefort, the official who was responsible for his imprisonment. The Count digs up proof of Villefort's illegal activities, which leads to his downfall. What's the significance of how Villefort reacts?
When the Count sees how afraid Villefort is, it reminds him of his own despair when he was imprisoned. It's a moment of empathy. He understands the impact of what he's doing, even to those who hurt him.
And then there's that reunion with Mercedes, his former love. It's bittersweet, full of unspoken words, and the weight of their past. What's at the heart of their conversation?
Mercedes sees how much he's changed, and she asks him what he's become. Dantes is forced to face the consequences of his transformation. He says, "I became what I needed to be." It's both a justification and a regret. He knows he embraced darkness to get where he is, but when he sees himself reflected in her eyes, it awakens something in him, a longing for the man he used to be. He's starting to realize that this quest for justice is also a journey of self-discovery.
But his enemies aren't just going to sit back and watch. Villefort is desperate to save himself, so he gathers allies and attacks the Count. It almost kills him. What does this tell us about the Count's vulnerability?
It's a reminder that even with all his power and planning, the Count isn't invincible. He underestimated his enemies. He barely survives. As he lies there injured, he hits his lowest point. The Count of Monte Cristo almost destroyed by the same darkness he's fighting.
And in that moment of defeat, he remembers Faria's dying words. It's a reminder of what he promised to do to seek justice, not just revenge. How does this memory influence his next move?
Faria's words are a turning point. Dantes realizes that he can't just inflict pain. He has to be better than that. He decides to face his enemies again, but this time with a focus on justice, the principle he almost abandoned.
The final showdown takes place in an abandoned space station, a fitting setting for this last act. Villefort thinks he's going to win because he has more people. But the Count simply says, "I came for justice." What's the nature of their final fight?
It's chaotic. The Count uses everything Faria taught him, all his skills. He's determined. They fight and end up at the edge of the station, literally and metaphorically. Villefort is defeated, and he wants the Count to kill him. But then something unexpected happens.
The Count hesitates. He looks out at the stars, and he decides to spare Villefort. He says that the Federation will decide his fate. What do you think? Why does he do that?
It's a moment of mercy. He chooses not to kill him. He could have, but he didn't. He's stepping back from the edge of pure vengeance. It shows how much he's grown. His revenge is complete, but he knows it doesn't mean anything.
Villefort is handed over to the Federation, and the Count's revenge is over. But the story says he feels empty. What does that tell us about revenge?
I think it shows that revenge doesn't bring happiness or peace. It might feel good for a moment, but then it's over, and you're left with nothing. The Count has achieved his goal, but now he's lost. He has to figure out who he is without the Count of Monte Cristo.
And then Mercedes finds him at a spaceport. He's looking at a ship called Edmond Dantes. She asks him to find the man he used to be. What's his reaction?
He tells her that that man is gone. He's changed so much that he doesn't think he can go back.
But Mercedes believes in him. She says that he can find that man again if he lets go of being the Maquad. What does this tell us about the power of love and connection?
Mercedes' love and faith in him, they're powerful. Her words remind him of who he used to be, the things he valued, the connections he had. She's giving him a way back to himself, a way to find peace. He realizes that true freedom is not about revenge, it's about being who you really are.
And as they stand there together, the galaxy feels full of possibilities. Edmond Dantes begins his journey back to himself. What's the overall message of this transformation?
The story ends with the legend of the Count of Monte Cristo, a reminder of the dangers of revenge, but it also shows that redemption is possible. Edmond Dantes' story continues. He's resilient. There's always hope for a new beginning. It's a powerful story about betrayal, justice, and the long road to finding peace.
Two amazing sci-fi probes into the vastness of space and the complexities of human nature and alien nature, too. In The Three Musketeers, we saw this unlikely alliance form to face a galactic threat, and we saw the weight of leadership and sacrifice. What stood out to you about Athos' past mistakes coming back to haunt him and D'Artagnan's role in uniting everyone?
The story really shows how past trauma can affect leaders. It can make them wise, but it can also hold them back. And D'Artagnan, he proves that sometimes you need a fresh perspective, someone who sees things differently to overcome challenges. He shakes things up in a good way.
And Monte Cristo in space took us on a wild ride. Betrayal, revenge, and then finally justice and self-discovery. What did you think about the Count's transformation, and what does his story say about wanting revenge?
The Count's journey is like a warning about revenge. It might feel good at first, but it can consume you. He chooses justice over revenge at the end, and it shows that even after going through something so dark, there's always a chance for redemption.
These flash fiction stories, these glimpses into possible true tomorrows, they make you think, don't they? They raise questions about heroism consequences, the choices we make when things are tough.
We want you, our listeners, to think about these themes. What other classic stories could be reimagined in a sci-fi setting? What kind of galactic guardians would you create?
So much to think about. Thanks for joining us on the True Tomorrows podcast for another sci-fi probe. Make sure to rate and follow the show so you don't miss our next exploration into the galaxy. Until then, keep exploring those true tomorrows.